come on up, because I'm going to... some of you know Alex and Rena and their story, but some of you don't. So it just seemed fair to at least give a little personal context. And if I just let them tell their story, that's all. It would take the whole class. So I know enough to highlight this. They are from Russia. They're from Russia. The city of now St. Petersburg, but it would have been Leningrad for... And they were both nuclear physicists for Soviet Union and non-believers. And this is the real short version of the story, but they began to, Alex, I think in particular, became hungry, sensing there was something more in life. The Lord miraculously provided a Bible for them. No small feat in the Soviet Union in those days. Introduction to the gospel. So in 1991, you were wonderfully converted to Christ. But you're still living in Leningrad, and here you are in Colombia. I mean, so what's the deal? And you got involved with some missionaries who were ministering in Leningrad. Are they still there?
No.
It might have been a few years ago. But so got exposed to, you sort of discipled and exposed to ministry, but in that context, you became aware of an educational opportunity in Jackson, Mississippi. Lots of things seem to come through Jackson on the way to Columbia. But at RTS, a scholarship for internationals that you were accepted for, or whatever, included, so you moved to Jackson, and that was your physical switch of homelands. You eventually, when did you become U.S. citizens? I should know this.
2003. It took 10 years, actually. We came to America in 93, and in 2003 became citizens.
Citizens, okay. And went through that process. So the part of the story I'm not going to tell is, how did you end up in Columbia, South Carolina? Here, yeah.
All right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to tell the whole story.
Okay. Just anyway. Yes. Pastor Neil said that. We are from the former USSR. Yeah. That beautiful city, and still have our relatives and friends there. Those who are still living. Then, yeah.
You can just tell that story and then go ahead into...
Yeah. So then, of course, God just used in a wonderful way some people like you who came there as short-term missionaries. And only very few of them then stayed as long-term. But anyway, that's how God used that visit of, again, people like you and like us now going there. Shared the gospel, and God worked it out in our whole household. So, I mean, at that time, and still we have only 2 daughters. Not a big family, but now some grandchildren. One is... he stayed even overnight, left us yesterday, and the other one is coming, Lord willing, in April. But anyway, so then we ended up in Jackson, Mississippi. We never had any plans to be there, but God just providentially put us at RTS in 1993, August 25th. Graduated in the end of summer of 96, and then again had no plans to be in Columbia. Had no following plans to be in big places with huge Russian-speaking community like New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles, big cities. Nevertheless, God put us here, and now we know why. So anyway, no questions now, but at that time we had many questions. Why Columbia? So when we ended up in Columbia, we immediately were involved in the Russian Language Institute or ministry, which was located at the same place as Columbia International University. And between 1996 and the end of 2001, we trained career missionaries from English-speaking countries, not only U.S., Canada, including even, we always had some students even from Australia and New Zealand and whatever English-speaking countries. So within 5 years, trained about 1,000 missionaries for the Russian-speaking countries of the former USSR. But then God called us, because it was not easy to share academic, like training, teaching there at CIU campus, and going. Always kind of conflicts, who would substitute while we are not here. So finally, after prayer, we decided, okay, yeah, we need to pick whichever. And picked, like God put us on our hearts just to be full-time in the field rather than sharing here and there. So and on December 18th of 2001, yeah, by God's grace, this ministry, which now we represent, Ministry of Outreach to Slavic Tribes, simply to say Russian-speaking people, locally, nationally, internationally, was founded. Actually, first we were trying to find something ready for that calling. When we failed, many of that time current pastors, not only of this church, but other churches, actually, that was formed like interdenominational ministry, including not only ARP, but PCA and the Community Bible Church in Beaufort, and so it was interdenominational. They all unanimously, but independently said, Alex and Irina, if you cannot find anything in the nation according to your calling, you need to start something by yourselves. Whoa. We were scared to death. But anyway,
because we wanted to combine local outreach with international ministry. And usually sending agencies, they focus on international ministry, local ministries.
It's like PCA, MTW, M&A.
Local outreach.
And
we wanted to do both.
Yeah, it didn't work for that. So either way, we spent the whole day in Atlanta, Georgia, involved with MTW, yeah, for the whole day, and almost came to the decision or solution that, okay, as an exception, they will do that. But then when we came in a week, they said, well, not really, because if we do it for you, then others might want something. No. So, and then that was kind of a nail in the coffin. So we were kind of doomed to start something. But anyway, that's not to take too much of your time and to share. But anyway, this ministry, as I said, of outreach is the outreach to the Russian-speaking people locally, which we do here in Columbia, South Carolina, nationally, network in the nation, and of course overseas. Of course, we cannot embrace the whole world. No, nobody can do it, only God. But at least some part of Ukraine and some part of Russia. And through those who represent other countries, yeah, of course, we are in touch with all parts of the former Soviet Union, but of course not that deep as Ukraine and Russia, and of course local here. Before I switch to Irina, what I'm saying, I see many faces which I know since practically all our life here in ministry in Columbia, and that's great. But I see some who I might never seen before. So we have some newsletters. If I pass them, if you want, if you don't receive them, maybe it'll save time.
I need to be fast.
Usually I talk too much, so that's why.
Usually I talk too much.
But because of the fact, of course, not many American women celebrate International Women's Day, but in former USSR, that was a big day. It's like Mother's Day here in this nation, but in the former USSR, even today in Russia or other parts of the former USSR, March 8th is the Women's Day. So to respect that, and it's still the 10th.
So, okay.
I better go there. Thank you.
So, MOST, or Ministry of Outreach to Slavic Tribes, acronym is MOST, M-O-S-T, MOST. And MOST is a Russian word for bridge. So, from the beginning, the vision was to be bridges of God's love between people in the United States and people of the former Soviet Union. And this bridge we try to build locally. As Alex said, we serve Russian-speaking community in Colombia. It's not a huge community. It is around 1,000 people compared to other places like New York, has more than 1 million. LA has 80,000. Philadelphia, 250,000. So Colombia is a small place. But 1,000 people is a lot of people. And when we came, one sweet lady gave us a list of her Russian-speaking contacts, and that was a list of 7 or 10 names. By the way, I still keep it, all this, this as a memory, this list of 20 names. So now Russian-speaking community in Colombia is, how many pages? 16 pages, small print, names, addresses, and whatnot. And it is constantly updating. And these are just not names. I know every single person on this list, and I know more than I want to know. So I know their family situations, I know their kids' grades, I know their health problems. So I know everything about every person on this list. And it's very difficult to minister to a person if you don't know him that deep and if they don't trust you. So I think this is the key to our ministry. And for this Russian-speaking community, we have all kinds of projects, local projects. We have picnics and we have socials. We have all kinds of cultural events. But the goal of all these events is to get to know people, to make new friends, and to invite them to our home Bible study, which we have every Tuesday night, and to our Sunday school class. Our Sunday school class is called Bridges, and we have, in our Bridges Sunday school class, we have people from Kazakhstan, Belarus, Moldova, Russia, Estonia, Ukraine. So you can imagine. So these are people from, all over the Soviet Union. And this is a small but very sweet group of people. By the way, First Pres is the only place in Colombia where people can worship in Russian, because entire worship service is translated into Russian. Alex is sitting in a small TV room upstairs, translating a worship service. And when he is translating, sometimes when people come for the first time, he translates like, okay, and now we stand, and now we take a hymnal, and this is a red book right in front of you, or the blue book right in front of you, and so on. So he has to translate the entire thing. So about international ministry, because I can talk forever, and I have some pictures to show you. Pictures are always good. International ministry. Many years ago, First Pres was introduced to local Protestants in the city of Vinnytsia, Ukraine, and this is central part of Ukraine. And in 1996 or 7, when we just came to Colombia, there was a group of medical doctors going to Vinnytsia, and we joined that team, and we fell in love with these people, and we've been going there since then. So we have all kinds of projects in Ukraine. And I will just tell about a few of them. One of the projects is we're helping with a Christian orphanage. The reason this Christian orphanage was founded was because in Ukraine most of the orphanages are huge, and they have all kinds of problems. just some figures. So there are 750 institutions for orphans. Most of the kids are called social orphans, which means that they have living mother and living father, but because of unemployment, poverty, collapse of social problem, poor medical care, crime, and so on, these kids became street kids. And very often, grandparents who have no money or neighbors bring kids to places like this Christian orphanage. And a local business person had a vision to start this orphanage, and he practically remodeled an old facility which looked absolutely horrible, turned into a lovely place, and you will see pictures of this place. And now there are kids living in this beautiful facility. The problem with the state orphanage is that after kids leave the orphanage, girls, 60-70%, end in prostitution and crime, 20% end up in prison, and 10% commit a suicide, which means that state orphanages do not really offer a solution to a problem. So kids are absolutely, they're not ready for real life. At the Christian orphanage, things are very different. But that was the beginning. The Christian orphanage was the beginning. Now they're building the second building. It will be finished, Lord willing, sometime in May, June. And you will see pictures of the second building. And also, a number of foster families was started because Ukrainian government offers families who want to become foster families, they pay salaries to parents, and they also pay a small kind of child support for every child they take. So if, for example, family would like to start a foster care, the only thing they need is a place, a house, a home, an apartment, or something like that. And that was the problem, because not many Ukrainian families have big enough apartments to take kids in. So
you're talking about
Christian foster families. So there are 4 Christian foster families, and the number is growing. There will be more, but that is we believe is a great beginning. Economy in Ukraine is in a terrible shape. And in order for these foster families and Christian orphanage to survive, they need support from anywhere. And every time we go to Ukraine, we bring with us some financial help so that they could pay their heating bills, they can pay, they can feed the families. You can imagine average pension is around $50. So what can you do if prices are the same as in the United States? So when you get your paycheck or pension paycheck, you have 3 options: to go to a grocery store once, or to pay utility bills, or to buy medication. You cannot do all of the above. So it is either or. And it's very difficult to make a choice whether you should pay, electric bill or you should buy a medication. So elderly people are struggling. Unemployment is very high. So people who had jobs as teachers, engineers, very educated people are now taxi drivers, plumbers, whatnot. Very often when we take taxi in Ukraine and talk to a taxi driver, he would share that he has PhD in psychology and things like that. So unemployment is very high. Many people go overseas looking for employment. They go to Russia, they go to countries, European countries, Poland, Germany, you name it, so that they could bring or send money back home, which obviously is very tough on the families. And it also attributes to a lot of social unrest in the country. But also we fell in love with the Christian Medical Center in Vinnytsia, Ukraine. And our latest newsletter is devoted to this Christian Medical Center. Because people have no money to pay for doctor's visits, that Christian Medical Center is an answer to many prayers. They have 2 medical doctors there. One is teaching at the university, medical university of the city of Vinnytsia, and his wife is Oksana. She is a well-known gynecologist in Vinnytsia, Ukraine. They also have 6 doctors who come and help, and some other, medical personnel. So when we talk about Christian Medical Center, we usually think about something big. When in Ukraine it is small. It is just 5 rooms in a building next to the church. So it's tiny facility. But there are many people coming there. Not only church members, but just neighbors, people from the neighborhood, and we help this Christian Medical Center in many ways with all kinds of supplies and whatnot. But the projects that we shared about in our latest newsletter is about their counseling center that they're about to launch, and they would like to provide free ultrasound to people who come. Ladies considering abortion, they come for consultation, and you know how effective ultrasound is to convince future mother, to change her mind, to choose life. So maybe I will show you some pictures, but before I show pictures, these are some pictures of this Christian orphanage, and I brought as an example. We do some translation projects. Maybe you remember a couple of years ago we had a guest during our Thornwell lectures whose name was Sam Albury, and his book was translated. We translated it, published it in Ukraine. And it is called Is God Anti-Gay? You see, this is the topic that in Ukraine is never discussed because pastors have no idea how to counsel people with the same-sex attraction. And there is zero literature. So when we talked to the leadership of Protestant church in Ukraine, they said, literature would be incredibly helpful. So it was translated and published in Ukraine, more than 1,000 copies. I also want to show, this is our show and tell class. Whenever I shop at Walmart, I buy stuff like that. Not for me, not for my grandson. So I buy a bunch of stuff. And this is for the Christian orphanage, but also it is for Dr. Oksana. When ladies come for the counseling, they leave with a gift like that. And in Ukraine, this is $3 at Walmart. In Ukraine, it will be 20, and this is $2 at Walmart. And I bought all they had available at Forest Drive and in West Columbia. All they had, shoes and these little onesies. In Ukraine, it will be like, $10. So I send it to Oksana, and she gives it as a gift to ladies who come and talk to her. So this is my little show and tell. And as an advertisement, Columbia International Festival is coming. So we use events not only that we create as a ministry, like picnics and socials. If something is going on in Columbia, we bring all people we know to these events. And what we usually do, Alex and I, we call every single person on this list, and it takes two of us entire week to call them. And we use this event as an excuse to get in touch with this person. So we call them and tell them, how are things? How are you? I'm calling you to remind that there will be a Columbia International Festival. And by the way, how's your mom doing? And by the way, how are your kids doing? And by the way, you do remember we have Bible studies on Tuesday night and things like that. So we use every existing opportunity to talk to people, to be in touch. And at the festival, during this festival, we also meet a bunch of new people, and it makes our list grow. So, and now I will show you some pictures. So this is Christian orphanage in Vinnytsia, Ukraine.
Is there sound?
No, there is no sound. So usually in summer, we go with a team of dentists, and you will see some pictures. And these dentists, they work on, he needs some help. So they fix teeth of kids at a Christian orphanage and foster homes. And also, sometimes we go to villages. And dental care in villages practically doesn't exist. Sometimes 15, 17-year-old girl comes with only front teeth left. All the rest is rotten to the gum. And doctors pull out, 10, 12 teeth of the same person. So, and that's why, for example, Christian orphanage, Christian medical center, they have trips. They go to villages and provide free medical care to people. This is my job. I'm with kids while doctors, dentists are doing their job. Alex is taking vital signs, and I entertain kids. This is one of the foster families, just beautiful couple. This is Widows Ministry in Kiev, and we help them. I send them boxes with ladies' clothes and supplies and medication and whatnot. So they have wonderful outreach of widows. And because of the war, widows are very young in Ukraine. 20-year-old, 30-year-old women. You think about widows, you think about elderly ladies. It's not the same in Ukraine. So these are widows in Ukraine. Again, at the orphanage, Alex is, showing off. Master class. So waiting for the dental help. And kids are just absolutely wonderful. This is one of the grads of the Christian orphanage. She came to see us with her husband and with a baby. So this is one of the success stories. And that was our list for the day, all the names. Again, dental clinic. And in the evenings, we had youth ministry, youth outreach, singing and fellowship, English classes, whatnot. Again, at the dentist, they have x-rays, they have cleaning, professional cleaning, and so on. That's the campus, church, and the building for the foster families. So in that building, there are 2 foster families with each one of them has 12 kids. And in the basement, there is like a kids club, like a free coffee shop where they have outreach. New facility for the Christian orphanage. This is how much wood you need to heat the building in winter, because gas is so expensive, so they use, many places switch to wood. It was last summer we saw this facility in winter, just 2 months ago. It is practically finished. So when we come in May, it should be finished, and we'll have our next. Yeah, these are kids at the worship service. So when we go in summer, we go with a medical clinic. When we go in winter, we go to celebrate Christmas with kids at the Christian orphanage. We try to spoil them a little bit, so we take them bowling and skating, take them to pizza place and things like that. This is our dentist preaching. Oh, such a wonderful man. No? Mm-hmm. Oh, this is winter. Winter trip, as you can tell. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. This is with kids at the Christian orphanage. But in winter, we also go to nursing homes. Bowling with kids. Oh, they love it. They told Miss Irina, we never go bowling without you. And we tell them, guys, we never go bowling without you either. They think that if we live in America, we go bowling every day and we eat pizza every day. But they're looking forward to our coming. And I remember a couple of years ago when foster families came bowling, none of the foster parents ever been to a bowling alley before, so they had more fun than their kids. And this is Pinocchio Italian pizza place. We always have pizza after the bowling and skating. Mm-hmm. We had 54 people for bowling and skating. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that is our winter project. They celebrate Christmas on the 7th of January. So as soon as we are done with Christmas in Columbia, we take tickets and we go. Oops. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to.
I've never seen that before.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, there is a picture. We can see that. You might
I don't know how to get rid of this thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and these are nursing homes. And nursing homes in Ukraine is the saddest place you can visit. They are huge. Again, huge facility. 200 people, 300 people. So we come with gifts, little, bags of, chocolate and cookies and whatnot. We come with a program, so Christian songs, a Christian message, and we walk through the entire nursing home and hand deliver all these gifts. We bring these are little gifts. We bring them Bibles and Christian calendars and whatnot. So for them, it is also something very special. And so we have 4 nursing homes that we regularly visit, and also a number of tiny village churches in the middle of nowhere during our winter trips. Because
Christian nursing homes?
No, they're not Christian. That's why at least one Christmas program is a huge blessing, because there is no other access for them. But the good thing is that local churches, after we visit nursing homes, they keep coming to the same nursing home and do a follow-up. So this is one of the foster homes. Again, Vinnytsia, winter. And these are the supplies that I buy. Last year, one Christian ministry in Colombia donated 200 coats that we that we send to kids at the foster home and winter. So this this is how shoes look by the end of the season. Sometimes coats you can pass down to younger kids. So again, these are kids in our coats. I think that's done. So one of the ministries in Colombia, they donated 200 coats, brand new, warm winter coats that we put in boxes and shipped to Ukraine. And we found a very inexpensive way of shipping. We pay $1.15 per pound. So when we get this, free supplies, it's a huge blessing. And also we buy, shoes and so on, because you see, shoes are good for one season, 2 soccer games and they are gone. But coats you can pass down. Well, one family said we brought them a coat several years ago, and they said their son and their 2 daughters wear this coat for 7 years totally. So 3 kids, 7 years, 1 coat. So, but you cannot do it with shoes.
Maybe it's about just time to finish soon. If any questions, the 2 of us will try to answer whatever questions about anything in Ukraine, Russia, or the former USSR, or local, whatever.
Is Ukraine kind of divided between ethnic Russians and ethnic Ukrainians?
Yes and no. Actually, it's a very difficult question, but historically, there was not even such a country as Ukraine, generally speaking. Nevertheless, it was formed as part of the Russian Empire many hundreds years ago, several hundred years ago. But nevertheless, currently, because historically it was formed and many territories of Russia were given as a gift to Ukraine, even after the revolution. Ukraine was a lot small, and Second World War. So that's why Ukraine is like a quilt. So different nations. So people who do not know Ukraine, they think it's just one nation. No. It's like Western Ukraine has nothing to do with Eastern Ukraine completely, culturally, even linguistically. But the tragedy of Ukraine currently is, if about political, economic, and even the kind of war or civil war, is that the Western Ukraine wants to suppress the Eastern Ukraine by banning Russian language, which is their own, because they are kind of originally Russians there. So not some news, if you are told that Russians are coming to Ukraine, no, Russians are there historically as part of Ukraine. But the Western Ukraine wants to eliminate them, either to kill them all or move them out, to liberate the territory for themselves. That's why, but in news it's so twisted. It's kind of brainwashing. I don't want to go into politics, but Russia has nothing to do about this conflict. It's inherited. It's inherited. It's like in Northern Ireland. You know what I mean. It's just clashes in some other countries. It's inside. But the West, because after the latest elections, more and more Westerners took power in the government of Ukraine, they want their language, their culture. They don't care about others, and others are the majority. So, and that's why people revolted and started that war. So, and that's why. So, and I will not be surprised if Ukraine would collapse not only into 2 parts, like Ukrainian and, say, Russian or pro-Russian. It's already now the case. Like Crimea is part of Russia anyway. And they did it because of it's 90% Russian historically. Then even Hungarians, we were about 10 years ago for the huge event of Hungarian Reformed Church invited there. And Hungarians, even 10 years ago, were praying for part of Western Ukraine to become theirs again. Not not in a military way, but because of mostly Hungarians living there, with Reformed churches there, and Ukraine is trying to suppress them.
And the same with Poland.
Poland has the same. Poland, by the way, lost a huge territory in the western part of Ukraine. Poland wants that back also because mostly Polish people they are there, and they are suppressed by Ukrainians. I mean, not Ukrainians, but Western Ukrainians. So it's a very difficult situation. And by the way, before coming to this class this morning, I watched news about Ukraine just 2 hours ago. Today, the president had to save his life and run from one of the cities of Ukraine where he came as a campaign because elections are coming in 2 weeks or whatever. And people hated him. So the stage was prepared and, everything for his speaking, like when the current president comes and also he wants another term. And people got together and stopped his car. And he, to save his life, just had to flee away from that city this morning.
So he's very unpopular.
Very unpopular.
Very unpopular.
They hate him.
His approval rate is very bad.
When you visit, which side are you visiting?
We're in the center.
In the center. So it's like the most, this is the tension. It's like, Ukraine, here. Capital is there. Black Sea is here in Crimea. So we're in the very heart. And Neil knows that. He was there many times.
There are people who feel that they have, they're, more, Russian culturally, and there are people who feel that they're more Ukrainian culturally. But when you come to worship services, there will be one sermon in Russian, one sermon in Ukrainian, one sermon
Even
in Russian,
today,
one sermon in Ukrainian. When people have fellowship, they have fellowship in whatever language they feel comfortable. They all speak Russian. We understand Ukrainian. We have no problem at all. Never ever in the central part of Ukraine we had any conflict or misunderstanding or whatever. People are very open to talk about, the tension within the country, so they're very open with us, sharing about, problems they have. But it's very unhealthy situation, politically, economically, you name it. And,
but mostly it's also about because of corruption.
Corruption.
Maybe it's not a secret for you, but Ukraine is probably the most corrupt country, government in the world today. And that's why they hate so much, not only the president, but even the whole government today, because whatever is given, even like an aid to Ukraine because of economic crisis, it ends up in the pockets of those who sit there, and nothing comes to it.
The people in Haiti might disagree with that.
Really?
Well,
Even worse?
yeah, well, it's bad, But lots of places in the world.
Okay, but anyway.
But the good
so
thing
that's
is that
sad,
when
very
we
sad.
send our boxes to Ukraine, not a single one ever disappeared, and which is incredible.
Something is working.
Something is working, yes.
Do you
By
ever
God's
feel
grace.
like you're going to be stopped from continuing your ministry, or?
We
There's
were
open doors?
concerned about last trip in winter because they had martial law in the country,
Yeah.
and we were kind of, not sure whether we could accomplish all we want to accomplish, because they,
They could do whatever they want.
they can do whatever.
Exactly. Yes. Stop. Whatever.
We were not sure that we'll be able to travel around the country freely because of the martial law, and have worship services because any meetings were prohibited, and you can call any worship service a meeting. So, and just lock the door of the church and so. But on the day we flew to Ukraine, martial law was lifted. So
By God's grace.
it was fine.
It just coincided, but it's not, by chance.
I heard you were coming.
Yeah, but
obviously.
also, please,
so.
thank you for your, listening to our stories, but please continue to pray for this ministry. We already have tickets to go to Ukraine on May 22nd with actually the dental clinic again. It needs to be done every year. So May 22nd, then on July the 15th, we fly to Russia, St. Petersburg, to do the ministry there in a bunch of small Reformed churches. Persecution was harder in Russia than in Ukraine. So we need your prayers, and also especially now for the coming trip to Ukraine because of unpredictable whatever
Yeah, after elections.
campaign
election,
about
yeah.
whatever government and whatever situation, civil war or whatever. But hopefully we'll go. And thank you again for your prayers and support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I was gonna ask what we could pray for, but
Yes,
you just told
we
us, so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Well, we appreciate your steadfastness in ministry, and
Thank you.
And you really have many gospel opportunities here and there, so we're grateful for that. And really, the open door that came with the all communism gospel opportunities to this point still remains.
Yes.
In central Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
By the way, even to, I would like to to say even more. You heard about so negative about Ukraine now, but all this negative, all these hardships, move people to God more than you can even imagine, because they completely lost any trust into any human leaders, and if so, they realize that there is only one who they can trust, and that's why churches are packed with young people.
Wow.
Not enough room with them. Yeah, that's what we now
There's a new
experience.
layer of gospel opportunity.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the more they are suppressed by corruption and war, economy crash, whatever, the more they come to God. So that's
Great.
so there are not only minuses but huge pluses in spiritual area.